Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, in whichever realms of existence you are, whatever mind states you're in, whatever conditions you're in. As always, you are welcome to my channel. Today, I wanted to talk about the I guess it's the effect of Amida's light, the effect on me of Amida's light in my life, my response to that, the effect of that on me. Amida's light, Amida's working, Amida's name. One particular aspect of that is that it's enabled me to do what I think perhaps on another level what Buddhists are meant to do anyway, and that's do their own independent kind of observations, examinations, investigations of reality, of the truth for themselves, testing the gold, as the Buddha taught us to do. And as he taught the Kalama people to do, to not just take, not just do it because someone says it, not just take the teaching because it's written, or because someone said it, or because the Buddha even said it. Test it for yourself, test the gold for yourself, and I did that before Buddhism. I did that before, before Buddhism in this lifetime, we'll say, in this rebirth, in this provisional existence, before I encountered Buddhism in this provisional existence. I was kind of doing that, which led me to Buddhism. Was with Amida's working, with Amida's guidance, which is has always been working. The light has always been there. Amida's working has already been working for countless lifetimes before this. So that it was working then as well. But then I was testing Buddhism for myself. Before, in my mind, this is what, I thought, testing Buddhism for myself, testing the teaching, examining, observing my own experience, observing life, observing others, just observing what was happening, and measuring that up, and other philosophies, other teachings, other things, and measuring that against Buddhism. Buddhism always won. Buddhism always, everything pointed toward Buddhism, including science, including everything always pointed me back in the direction of Buddhism, in that search, in those examinations, in those observations, in that, looking at and observing my own experience, and etc. So I was doing that before, I really I'd say fully encountered the Jodo Shinshu Buddhist teachings. And even, but again, I think looking back, the light was already there. The light of Amida was already, enabling me to do that. The light and the light of Amida, the working of Amida, was already enabling me to do those things that I thought, I was just doing myself, type of thing. But anyway, and it's not just examining the teachings. It's, you're examining life. You're examining your own life, lives of others, life in general, reality, society, the world, culture, everything. And then, obviously when I, started pursuing the Jodo Shinshu, but Pure Land teachings. I encountered it in the early, mid to early to mid 90s. Was my first encounter in this rebirth. During this rebirth, my first encounter was an article I read in Tricycle magazine. I talked about this before, about Pure Land, and the Pure Land teachings and Pure Land Buddhism, but didn't pursue it at that point. I just kind of sort of filed that in my general kind of Buddhist knowledge, and didn't really come back to it until the mid to late noughties, or 2000s, and mid to late 2000s. And so that's, when I started to kind of pursue the Pure Land Buddhist Dharma, and eventually Jodo Shinshu, I think that examination of things increased, or my ability to do it increased, enabled by Amida. It was enabled even more by Amida, I guess, progressively. And, in doing that, with Amida's light and working, enabling me to examine life and see, life as best I can within my karmic causes and conditions and limitations. I started seeing things in a way I never had before. This happened when I was first pursuing Buddhism early on, but especially so. Buddhism always gets you to look at life in a way that no other religion, no other philosophy, no other aspect of life, no other aspect of society, nothing you learn from family, anything like that. It makes you look at life in a completely different way than anything else. So that happened, in my early Buddhist, explorations, but especially so in the Jodo Shinshu, because you not only have Buddhism, but then you have the Shinran flip of everything, the Jodo Shinshu flip, of the teachings, and it makes you really look at it from a different angle. And anyway, in Amida, Buddha's light and working, enabling me to see the things I've seen in the past, I'd probably say particularly several years, but since the early to mid, the mid to late noughties, the things I've gradually come to see about life. Actually, let's just take it back to when I just first was already, since but with my Buddhist journey in general, progressively kind of seeing more and more things through the light of Amida, through Amida's working. I have gotten to the point where I've kind of realized that what I see in life could not have come from any other source but Buddhism, and or been enabled by anything else but Buddhism and Amida Buddha and Amida Buddha's light and his working and his vow. Not the things that I see now, I would not have learned anywhere else. There's no other way I would have learned it. There's nothing else. I couldn't have learned it. There's things I see, really hard truths about life. I'm talking about things that it kind of sucks to see the truth about it, whether it's about yourself or other people or society or the world or other cultures or other, or my own culture or cultures, or, anything in the phenomena of life, anything in the multifaceted dharmas with a lowercase d, of life. the real, there's some really hard truths I've come to see, really hard truths I've come to see about life that really, there's times where I'm like, it just sucks to know that. In a way, I'm grateful. Like, it's weird. It's like I'm grateful, but at the same time, it really sucks. It really sucks because it's some of the truths about samsaric existence and the implications of it, and the implications of karmic causes and conditions in the lives of people, and groups of people, and societies and cultures, and the way things operate. It's dark. There's some really dark things about that. There's some really stark, dark, hard realities to see, and I've seen them through Amida's light, and that's part of that. That's part of me coming to grips with my karmic situation, my karmic, the perilousness of my karmic situation, the perilousness of our collective karmic situation in samsara. Excuse me. And these are things. I mean, and the things that I've come to see because of Amida's light and everything else, Amida, and Buddhism. The things I've come to see through that are just, there's no way I would have learned them anywhere else. I would not have learned them from family. I would not have learned them from the religion I was raised in. I would not have learned them from through any other religion, really. On I wouldn't have learned it. I mean, believe me, there's things I've come to see as truths that I would never have dreamed I would see the world this way. I would never dreamed I would perceive things the way I do now. And I know I have my own karmic causes and conditions and have my own ignorance and delusion as a samsaric being. So, I take that. I take that on board, and I take that for what it is, and I take what I do see for what it is. That it's going to be through the bamboo's eyes, obviously. But even in the context of that, there's nothing, I would just never learn these things through anything about Buddhism and Amida. I would have definitely never learned them from family, definitely never learned them through school or university, never learned them through any institution, in any aspect of culture or society. Nothing. I would have never seen things this way. And it's almost like the opposite of what I learned from those things. It's other, or not, maybe not the opposite, but completely other than what I learned, that were taught that were taught or passed on or implicated or inferred, or however that that knowledge gets passed on to you, that view, the understanding of life, quote unquote, or misunderstanding of life, actually, as a better way to put it, the misunderstandings of life, the misperceptions that are passed on to you, the disinformation that you learn, the disknowledge or unknowledge that you learn, anything I know now through Amida Buddha's light is other than that. It's completely other. There's no way I would have learned it other than through Buddhism and through Amida Buddha enabling me to see these things. And I'll admit, and this is probably because Shinjin hasn't completely arisen and settled in my life. Um, I still feel like it sucks. I just like I don't think I mean life isn't gonna unsuck once, Shinjin arises. Life won't, life will always still be life. My karmic causes and conditions will be our collective karmic causes and conditions will still be what they are. I have to live that out and experience that. So life won't not completely, isn't going to be suddenly no suck. It's not going to unsuck suddenly. I know that. I realize that. I mean, I think in the teachings, it's pretty clear that the experience of Amida's working, encountering Amida's the light, the working of Amida Buddha's vow, the arising of Shinjin, that whole process is transformative. So certainly some things and things have changed in my life already because of that, and are changing, and will change further, and will be very changed when Shinjin fully arises and settles. Um, but you still are as bamboo, and you're still in samsara, and it's still gonna suck. It's still gonna suck. Even though you'll have very different under you know understanding or view or what's the word, underlyingly your response to it all will be different, because I know people of Shinjin. I know people who are of settled Shinjin, and I can see it in them. Their response is different than mine, and so my response will be different, even more so than it is now. It's been changed already. My response to all of life in samsara has already been changed and transformed by Amida's working. But anyway, what I'm saying is that I still kind of, and this is maybe calculations or my speculation on my part, that what I'm talking about now, as far as me seeing these truths, these very dark, stark, painful truths of life that I would never have seen any other way other than Buddhism and Amida's light, suck. And I almost wish I didn't see them. And I think the reason I react that way is because that's why I'm saying I'm speculating. I'm wondering if that's because the reason I'm still reacting that way to it is because Shinjin hasn't fully arisen and settled. That I still feel like I wish I didn't see it, because it's so different. It's so different. My thinking and attitudes are about certain things are so other than any that and then I would have arrived at from any other source uh, in the samsaric existence. And some of them are really great. Some of the teachings I've come to see, to really to first know intellectually, and then really kind of start to know through Amida's light in my heart and my body, and my whole being, to some extent, are great. Some of the things I see are fantastic, amazing, mind blowing. So there's a lot of things like that. That again, the really good. I know we're not supposed to say really good or whatever, but those things that are really amazing and fantastic and mind blowing and light filled, light giving, life giving truths of Buddhism that I've come to know, and has sunk into me, from my mind to my heart to my whole being, as it were, however all that works in Buddhism, are great. Some of the things are great; they're fantastic. But some of the things I see are not, they're just, they just, and it can't, it's I think that's just part of samsaric existence, that I react that way to them. I'm affected by that. I'm gonna be. I'm a bamboo. I'm gonna be affected. You know, um, I'm not gonna have equanimity. Until I'm born in the Pure Land. As a Buddha, I'm not gonna, or unborn in the Pure Land as a Buddha. I'm not going to be. I'm not going to react with equanimity to these things. I'm going to react with, look at these great, the great things we're talking about, the mind blowing, amazing, aha, mind, just sort of life light giving things of Buddhist teachings that you suddenly really realize through Amida's light. Yeah, great. And I have that kind of, it feels great. But on the other hand, there's these stark, dark, painful realities. And I've talked about some of those actually on my channel already, obviously throughout my videos. Just aspects of Mapo, living in Mapo, being born in Mapo, aspects of Mapo, the time we live in, the age we live in, what's going to be happening in the future of Mapo, but also like just some of the implications of all of that, the implications of all of that across the board. I don't want to get into specifics because yeah, I can't get into the specifics because it's kind of almost too dark, too stark, too and could even be, who knows how people would react to it. The truths about life and people and societies and cultures and the world, like some of those truths, I actually can't, I won't talk about them kind of publicly. I just won't. Probably discuss them with a select few people, the select few, Dharma siblings, Dharma brothers, Dharma siblings, Dharma, friend, Dharma guide, select few I will talk to about these things. And I actually have already been talking with them about, but some of them not yet. And I will talk about those with them, but it's just it wouldn't be something that, it's not really like, it's like, just look at the cancel culture age in which we live. Look at the cancel culture, the politically correct culture. That's an old term actually now, but the woke culture, the cancel culture, the censor culture, the triggering culture, avoid being triggered culture, all those things. If you look at that, and so that right there are reasons I'm not going to talk about some of the stark, dark realities that have been revealed through Amida's light to me about the world, about life. I just won't discuss them publicly. It just won't happen. Won't ever happen. And also, because I'm a samsaric being, because I'm a bamboo, I won't probably discuss those things in a very effective way, in a very helpful way. Like I won't, no matter how much I try to express them in a way that is kind of in keeping with the Dharma and to lessen harm and to discuss them in a way that wouldn't be offensive or wouldn't offend anybody or wouldn't, trigger anybody or wouldn't this or that anybody. No matter how skillful I might be or not be at that, it still would go wrong because I'm just a bamboo. I'm just this limited samsaric being. And so, I just wouldn't in that sense, because I wouldn't want, it just wouldn't be helpful. It just wouldn't be helpful to anyone. to anyone else or myself. So I just won't talk about those things. But they are dark things, dark, painful aspects of the realities of life in samsara, the reality of societies, the realities of cultures, the realities of human, in the reality of the human realm, and human behavior, because of karmic causes and conditions. I'll just put it that way, leave it at that. And again, I would have never, like, there's no, the way, what I've seen now, the way I see the world, it could only be possible through Amida Buddha's light, Amida Buddha's power, Amida Buddha's working through Buddhism, enabling me to see what I see now. There's no other way. There's no other place it would have come from. Because everything in samsara hides the truth. Everything in samsara couches the truth in, it's like it mixes the truth with untruth, or it just completely hides the truth or avoids the truth. And everything in life is about desire. Everything in society, everything in families, everything in culture, everything in civilization, everything in human behavior, everything in human systems is about hiding the truth, avoiding the truth, and in enveloping you further in desire, or mitigating desire, or trying to control desire, or trying to enhance your desire, trying to get you addicted more, or through advertising, whatever. There's a lot of things there, but it's all about, it's that X-Files tagline, deceive, inveigle, obfuscate. At the end of one of the taglines, at the end, the beginning of one of the episodes, after the opening titles of the X-Files would go, and then it would just do that, doom, and do that beat, like doom, and it would have a line, usually a lot of times it was the truth is out there at the end, but it did some other ones too. And one of them was deceive, inveigle, and obfuscate. And that is what and I think one of the characters talks about that's the policy. Oh yeah, and there's another tagline too in the X-Files that applies here. It's something is policy. Denial is policy. Denial is policy. Something like that. It's like denial is policy. It's, like total deniability is policy. Something like, I can't remember what that other one is, but that is how samsara operates. That's everything about samsara, everything about human existence and human systems and human societies, cultures, everything. Politics is about hiding, avoiding, or trying to somewhat kind of not really deal with the truth, but kind of, they acknowledge the truth, but won't deal with it, or won't fully, it's all about untruth. So I would never see through that, through my own ability or capacity, nor through getting it from anything in samsara. Nothing could have shown me what Amida's light, what Buddhism and Amida's light have shown me. There's just nowhere that would have come, other than that. So, yeah. I'm not sure what series this will be in, whether it's going to be on deeply reflecting, or I think probably deeply reflecting would be, but maybe testing the gold, because it's just showing how the superiority of Buddhism over everything else, of Amida's light shining through, that's the best thing. It's the only source of truth anywhere. The truth is out there. and it's Amida's light, and it's Amida Buddha, and it's Jodo Shinshu. Namo Amida Butsu.